The first time the galaxy heard the name humanity, it was not spoken in peace, but in fear. It began with a shadow, a massive dark figure moving slowly across the quiet trade lanes of the Aryan sector. Ships that had traveled these routes for centuries now reported silence. One by one, cargo freighters disappeared, whole convoys vanished, and no distress signals ever escaped the black void. At first, the Galactic Union thought it was pirates. They had seen raiders before, scavengers, striking from asteroid belts, leaving wreckage behind. But this was different. The convoys did not leave wreckage, they simply ceased to exist. It was as if something swallowed them whole. Patrol ships were dispatched, small corvettes equipped with scanners and weapons. They searched the lanes, broadcasting warnings and demanding answers. But none returned, only static came back, rumors spread. Some whispered of an ancient predator awakened from slumber. Others spoke of a rogue empire unleashing a secret weapon. The fearful began to name it in hushed tones, the floating terror. But the truth was stranger than all the rumors. One lonely outpost, a listening station at the edge of the sector, finally recorded the first glimpse. Its sensors caught a distortion in space. A colossal silhouette blocking out the stars. The figure drifted closer, and with it came silence. No signals could escape once it entered range, as if the void itself devoured sound. The outpost's commander, an old Aryan officer named Kareth, leaned close to the display. His mandibles clicked nervously as the shadow resolved into shape. It was not an asteroid, not a natural object. It was built. It was a ship. Size. Impossible, whispered one of the junior technicians. The reading showed it was larger than a Union dreadnought, larger than any construction ever attempted by known species. The hull stretched for kilometers, thick plating scarred with strange marks, and massive towers rose like jagged spines along its surface. The outpost sent its warning to the Union. That warning barely escaped before the signal was cut. It was the last anyone heard from Station Grull 4. Across the galaxy, leaders gathered in emergency councils. Debates raged. Who could build such a monster? Why unleash it now? Some feared the return of the mythical progenitors, an ancient race thought long dead. Others argued it was a new enemy from beyond the galactic rim. No one guessed the truth. No one knew it was humanity. The first actual contact came not from diplomats, not from explorers, but from soldiers. The Union dispatched an entire fleet to intercept the terror, 50 ships strong, with carriers, destroyers, and battleships. It was the largest force the Union had gathered in decades. Admiral Threx, a towering reptilian warrior, stood on the bridge of his flagship and stared at the tactical map. He had fought wars, crushed rebellions, faced pirates and rogue fleets. But nothing unsettled him like this silence. Target is stationary, his officer reported. No signals, no energy spikes, only the mass reading. It does not respond to hails. Then we make it respond, Threx growled, his fleet closed in weapons armed. The galaxy held its breath, waiting for the outcome. As the fleet entered range, the terror finally stirred. Lights awakened across its hull like the eyes of a beast opening in the dark. Towering cannons rotated, massive barrels that dwarfed Union battleships. Each one hummed with a low vibration that rattled through space. The Union fleet opened fire first. Dozens of beams and missiles streaked across the void. They slammed into the terror's armor, explosions flashing like suns. But when the light cleared, the monster still drifted forward, untouched. Admiral Threx's jaw tightened. All batteries fire again, the terror answered. From its hull erupted a single beam, a lance of pure energy so wide it swallowed half the fleet's formation. Ships melted instantly, hulls breaking apart before they could scream. Dozens of lives vanished in one blinding instant. The Union had faced many weapons in its history, but never one like this. The fleet scattered in panic, trying to evade, but the terror's guns tracked them with cold precision. Another beam fired, and 3 battleships were cut in half. Impossible, Threx muttered, his claws dug into the railing. He had always believed in Union strength, But this was no battle. This was slaughter within minutes. Half the fleet was gone. The survivors scrambled to retreat, jumping into hyperspace with desperation. Only a fraction escaped. Their reports sent shockwaves through the galaxy. They described the ship as a moving fortress, its hull unbroken by weapons, its cannons beyond comprehension. They named it officially the monster ship. Still, no one knew who built it. Some argued it was a machine with no crew. Others believed it was controlled by an unknown species. But fear grew. For if such a weapon moved freely, what chance did any world have? What the Union did not know was that inside the Terror, humans walked its decks. Deep within the armored walls, corridors stretched like veins, buzzing with power. Humans moved with calm purpose. Clad in dark uniforms, they were not panicked, they were not surprised. This was their creation. Their shield, their sword, Captain Elias Stone stood at the command deck, gazing at the burning wreckage drifting in space. His face was hard, his voice steady. Around him, his officers watched silently, waiting. They fired first, Stone said. At last his words carried across the room. We answered. The Terror was not built to conquer, not built to enslave. It was built because humanity knew fear. They had seen the galaxy long before the galaxy saw them. They had watched from the shadows, listened to signals, mapped the powers and empires. And they knew one truth. To survive, they must never appear weak, so they built the monster ship. A vessel so vast, so armed, that no one would dare strike. First, but the galaxy did not know this. To them, the Terror was not defense, it was a nightmare. On distant worlds, civilians whispered of the end. If it comes to our skies, we are finished. Merchants canceled trade routes near human sightings. Armies drilled in panic. Councils argued whether to confront or appease, in hidden chambers. The humans watched it all unfold. Some argued the plan was working. Fear kept enemies at bay. Others warned that too much fear could unite the galaxy against them. And so, the stage was set. Humanity had stepped onto the galactic stage, not with a word. Not with peace, but with the shadow of their monster ship. The galaxy trembled. And for the first time in centuries, war no longer seemed distant. Because the Terror was not just a ship. It was a message humanity had arrived. The survivors of Admiral Threx's fleet limped back to Union space. Their ships were scorched, their crews broken. The Admiral himself sat in silence, his scales dulled with shame. For the first time in his long career, he had faced an enemy that did not bleed. When the Union Council gathered, the hall echoed with anger. Fear sharpened every word. Delegates screamed over one another, demanding answers. Some wanted to rally all fleets and crush the Terror. Others urged retreat and silence. They argued about treaties, alliances, and secret weapons, but beneath it all was dread. A single ship had destroyed 50. If it marched into Union core worlds, nothing could stop it. It is not just a warship. One delegate cried, her frills shaking. It is a symbol. A message carved in fire. Whoever commands it means to rule us through fear. They did not yet know the name of the builders, but their terror was already united under one thought. This monster ship had to be stopped. Across the galaxy, rumors grew into legends. Some spoke of a ghost fleet that followed the Terror. Others swore it could vanish into shadows and reappear without warning. Merchants invented new routes just to avoid the Aryan sector. Entire colonies shut their skies when whispers reached them. Yet inside the ship itself, life carried on with a steady rhythm. Captain Elias Stone stood again at the command deck, his hands clasped behind his back. The screen showed the drifting wreckage of another small patrol fleet that had dared to approach. It had been destroyed in minutes. The bridge crew waited for his words. "Status report," Stone said quietly. "All systems stable, weapons charged." "Shields holding. No damage," replied Lieutenant Harris. Her voice calm but tight. She was young, her eyes betraying the unease she felt. "But Captain, the Union will not stop sending fleets. They will gather more. They will come again." Stone nodded. He had expected this. Humanity's plan was dangerous, to reveal themselves in this way, to show the galaxy their monster first. It was a gamble that could unite the galaxy against them, but the alternative had been worse, years ago, before the Terror was built. Humanity had intercepted signals. They had seen the galaxy's wars, empires that crushed weaker races, slavers that raided colonies, wars fought over resources with no mercy. Humanity knew if they stepped into this galaxy quietly, they would be seen as prey, and prey did not survive, so they built something no predator would dare bite. But already Stone sensed the danger. The galaxy feared them, yet fear could turn into rage. The Union was vast, and even the Terror might fall if every empire joined hands against it. In the lower decks of the ship, soldiers trained, engineers checked weapons, children even played in hidden quarters. For this was not just a ship of war, it was also home. Thousands of humans lived aboard it. Generations raised in its steel halls. It was a city as much as a fortress. Among them was Dr. Maya Chun, the chief scientist aboard. She often clashed with Captain Stone over their mission. For her, the Terror was proof of human brilliance, but also a prison. We cannot live forever behind these walls, she said during one of their quiet meetings. We must speak to them, show them we are not monsters. If all they know of us is fire, then fire is what they will bring back. Stone listened, his eyes fixed on the endless stars. They would not listen, Maya. They would only see weakness. And weakness is a death sentence in this galaxy. But strength without mercy invites rebellion, she replied softly. And rebellion will drown us, even if we win every battle. Their words echoed in the silence of the command deck. Two visions of humanity's future colliding, the shield of fear or the bridge of peace. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, Admiral Threx returned to his people, not as a hero, but as a warning. His failure spread, yet instead of breaking him, it fueled him. I saw the beast, he told the war councils. I saw its cannons tear through ships like paper. I saw our fleet die. But I swear this, we will not bow. We will not live in the shadow of a monster. Threx began to gather allies secretly. He spoke to captains, to smugglers, to engineers who hated the Union's complacency. If the Council would not unite the galaxy, then he would. His pride demanded it, his fear demanded it. And so, whispers of rebellion against the Terror found their first champion. Back on the monster ship, something unexpected happened. A transmission slipped through the jamming field. A voice crackled across the speakers, not hostile, but desperate. This is Outpost Vera 9. The signal stuttered. We are not Union, we are not soldiers. We are farmers, we beg you, do not destroy us. The crew froze. This was the first time anyone had spoken directly to them. The voice was weak, broken with static, but filled with fear. Captain Stone hesitated. Every instinct told him to maintain silence, to let mystery be their shield. But Dr. Chun pressed closer. Answer them, Elias. If we show them mercy, even once, it could change everything. For the first time since the monster ship had appeared, humanity faced a choice not of war but of words. Stone stood in silence. He could order the transmission cut. He could continue the plan, let the galaxy tremble. Or he could speak, break the wall of fear, and risk weakness. Patch me through, he said at last. His voice carried steady across the ship. The crew watched as the channel opened. The captain leaned forward, his words clear and heavy with meaning. This is Captain Elias Stone of the human vessel Terror. We are not here for you. We are not here to conquer your farms. We will not harm you, but understand this, we will defend ourselves. We will not bow to threats. Tell your people what you saw. Tell them humans do not seek war, but we will not run from it. The outpost fell silent. Then the voice answered, shaking. You are human? You are real? The legends say you were gone. Stone paused. Humanity had hidden for centuries, building in the shadows. Now their name was spoken again in the stars. Yes, he said. We are human, and we are here. The transmission ended. The crew sat In stunned silence, Dr. Chen let out a breath she had been holding. It begins now, Elias. Whatever happens next, it begins now. And far away, in secret chambers, Admiral Threx received reports of the broadcast. His eyes narrowed. Human. He hissed. Tasting the word like venom, he turned to his gathered captains. Now we know our enemy's name. The galaxy had wanted to know the builders of the monster ship. Now they did. Humanity had stepped out of the shadows, and the galaxy would never forget. The terror drifted on, silent and vast, but for the first time, its silence was broken not by fire, but by words. Yet words could be sharper than weapons, and the galaxy was already sharpening theirs. The galaxy now had a name to fear: humanity. When Captain Elias Stone's words echoed across Outpost Veronine, it was like striking flint in a dry field. The spark spread fast. Reports rushed through trade lanes and diplomatic channels. The terror is human. The monster ship belongs to them. For most species, the word meant little. Humans had been myths, shadows in forgotten archives. Some claimed they had destroyed themselves long ago. Others believed they had fled beyond the stars. But now the myth walked again, and it walked. In armor, across Union space, the news ignited fire. Some cried for immediate war. Others feared to provoke further destruction. For the first time in centuries, entire councils stood divided not by trade disputes or border skirmishes, but by the simple question: what do we do about the humans? Admiral Threx sat in his war chamber, the dim light reflecting off his scarred scales. Before him hovered the image of the terror. Every time he looked at it, his chest burned. He had faced many enemies, but none had humiliated him so completely. Now, we know their name, he growled to his circle of captains. We know who dares to frighten the galaxy. And I swear to you, we will tear that name from the stars. His words were met with a chorus of growls and hisses. For many, vengeance was enough, but Threx was not foolish. He knew brute force would not win. Not yet. So he began weaving alliances, whispering in the ears of those who had reason to hate the Union, pirates who had lost prey, smugglers who had lost trade, even minor warlords who longed for a cause. If the Union will not act, we will, he promised. And when the humans fall, the galaxy will remember our names. But while Threx plotted in the shadows, the humans faced their own storms, inside. The terror, the debate grew. Some officers supported Stone's decision to speak to Veronine, believing it softened their image. Others accused him of weakness. Fear had been their shield, and he had cracked it. One officer, Commander Holt, stood tall during the council meeting. His voice boomed through the chamber. Every word we speak is a weapon turned against us, Captain. The galaxy only respects strength, not mercy. If you continue this path, you will unite them faster than any gun. Stone met his glare. And if we remain silent forever, they will still unite, Holt. Fear breeds monsters in their minds. They will come for us either way. The difference is whether they come knowing us as devils or as people. The room fell into tense silence. Neither side convinced the other, for humanity itself was split between the instinct to hide behind strength and the hope to build bridges. Dr. Maya Chen, though, knew that truth time was running short. She had studied the Union's communications. Their fleets were gathering again, this time not 50 ships, but hundreds. Whole sectors shifting resources to face the terror. They will come, Elias, she warned, showing him the data streams. And when they do, not even the terror may stand alone. We need allies. Even one voice on our side could change everything. But where could humanity find such allies in a galaxy that already feared them? The answer came from an unexpected place, on a distant mining world. A small species called the Vayari had watched the Union's debates with growing unease. The Vayari were weak, their fleet small, their history scarred by slavery under larger empires. Yet when they heard Captain Stone's broadcast, something stirred. He spoke to us. Their leader said, "He did not kill our outpost, he gave us warning. Perhaps these humans are not monsters. Perhaps they are like us small ones, but forced to become strong. And so quietly, the Vayari sent a message into the void. A message not of fear, but of curiosity. It reached the Terror, surprising everyone. The words were simple. We will talk if you will listen, for the first time. Humanity was offered not war, but dialogue. Captain Stone sat with Dr. Chun, the message glowing between them. His jaw tightened. If we answer this, we step into the open fully. The Union will see it as manipulation. They will strike harder. Chun met his eyes. If we ignore it, then we prove the Union right, that we are nothing but shadows with cannons. Elias, this may be our only chance. And so Stone gave the order. Send a reply, arrange a meeting. But the Union was not blind. Their spies caught whispers of the exchange, and Admiral Threck saw an opening. Good, he hissed, baring his fangs. Let them show their faces, let them reach for all eyes. We will strike them down in the act, and the galaxy will see humanity not as warriors, but as liars. As plans moved on both sides, the Terror drifted toward neutral space, its massive hull shimmering in the light of twin suns. Inside, tension gripped the crew. Soldiers polished weapons, engineers reinforced shields. For though the mission was peace, they knew peace rarely survived contact with fear. The meeting was set at an abandoned station orbiting a dead moon. The Vayari delegation arrived first, small ships trembling beside the human fortress. When Captain Stone and Dr. Chun stepped onto the station's cold floor, the Vayari stared. In awe. So tall, one whispered, so strange, but their leader bowed. We thank you for sparing our outpost. We thank you for speaking. It is more than the Union ever gave us. Stone inclined his head. We seek no slaves, no tribute. Only a place in the stars where our people may live. The Vayari nodded eagerly. Then perhaps we can be friends. It was a fragile spark of hope, a moment where history could have bent toward peace. But outside the station, Admiral Threx's fleet waited in ambush. Dozens of ships shimmered into existence, surrounding the Terror. Alarms blared across the human vessel. Commander Holt roared orders. Shields up. Weapons hot. Inside the station, the Vayari panicked. Their leader clutched Stone's arm. You must protect us. If the Union sees us with you, they will destroy us too. Stone's heart thundered. He turned to Chun. If we fight, we prove Holt right. We prove we are nothing but monsters, Chun whispered back. And if we do nothing, we all die. Outside, Admiral Threx's voice boomed across channels filled with venom. Human! Surrender your ship, surrender your lies. Today the galaxy learns the Terror bleeds. The Terror's cannons awakened, glowing like suns for a moment. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. Would humanity fire and cement their place as destroyers? Would they surrender and be crushed? Or would they find another path? Stone stood at the edge of history. His next order would define humanity's name forever. The station shook as Admiral Threx's fleet surrounded the Terror. The Vayari delegation cowered, their small frames trembling in fear. They had come seeking peace. But now they were caught in the jaws of war, on the human ship. Alarms screamed. Through every deck, soldiers rushed to their posts, engineers sealed bulkheads, and pilots slid into launch bays. The monster ship came alive. A fortress ready to unleash its wrath. Commander Holt's voice thundered across the bridge. Captain, we must strike first. If we hesitate, they will rip us apart. His eyes blazed with fury. Give the order, sir. Let them taste fear again. But Captain Elias Stone did not move. He stood at the center of the command deck, fists clenched behind his back. His jaw tightened as Threx's ultimatum echoed across the channels. Surrender, human, or burn. Dr. Maya Chun stood at his side. Her voice low but urgent. If you fire, Elias, everything we said to the Vayari dies. They will see us as killers, not as allies. The crew held their breath, watching their captain. Every second of silence was a knife edge. The galaxy itself seemed to lean closer, waiting. Then Stone spoke. His words calm but iron. "We will not fire first. Raise shields. Hold position." A murmur rippled through the crew. Some felt relief, others frustration. Commander Holt slammed his fist against a console. "You will get us all killed," he growled, but obeyed. Outside, Threx's fleet began its advance. Sleek Union warships fanned out, their weapons glowing. The station's hull groaned under the pull of energy fields. The Vayari leader clutched Stone's arm. "Please, they will slaughter us." Stone knelt to meet the alien's eyes. "Stand behind us, we will not let them take you." And with that, the first shot came, not from the humans, but from Threx. A beam of plasma lanced across space, slamming against the Terror's shields. The impact rattled its steel bones. Lights flickered, and sparks burst across consoles. "Shields holding," reported Harris, her voice steady but pale. "But they're charging for another volley." "Return fire," Stone said at last. His voice was steady as stone. The Terror answered. Its massive cannons erupted, beams brighter than suns slashing through the dark. The first volley cut 2 Union cruisers in half, their wreckage spiraling into the void. The battle had begun, inside the station. The Vayari delegation watched in horror and awe. The monster ship moved like a beast unchained, swatting aside smaller ships as though they were insects. Yet even the Terror could not strike without cost. For every Union ship destroyed, the rest pressed harder, pouring fire against its shields. On the bridge of his flagship, Admiral Threx roared with savage joy. "Yes! Bleed, monster, bleed!" He hurled his fleet forward, desperate to prove that Terror could fall. But Stone did not lose control. He gave orders with calm precision. "Battery 3, fire on their flank, fighters. Intercept torpedoes. Do not waste fire, make every shot. Count." Still the Terror trembled. Wave after wave of plasma slammed against it. Its shields rippled, cracks forming in its armor. A strike cut through one of its towers, ripping away hundreds of lives in an instant. The ship groaned like a wounded giant. Inside, families huddled in fear. The Terror was not just a warship, it was their home. Children cried as the walls shook. Medics rushed to treat burns and injuries. The battle was no longer just numbers, it was survival. Dr. Chun gripped the console, her knuckles white. "We cannot last forever." "Elias," she warned, "we must end this quickly." Stone's eyes hardened. "Then we end it." He ordered the Terror's main cannon to charge, a weapon so powerful. It drained the ship's core to fire. The bridge went dark, emergency lights bathing them in red. The cannon's hum rose like thunder. Admiral Threx saw it. His eyes widened. "All ships, scatter. Do not let it fire." But it was too late. The Terror unleashed its fury. A beam wider than a city carved across the battlefield, swallowing half of Threx's fleet. Ships disintegrated, turning to dust in the void. The light faded, leaving silence. The survivors broke. Dozens of ships scattered, fleeing into hyperspace, their morale shattered. But Threx's flagship endured, scarred but alive. He stared at the wreckage with burning hatred. His claws scraped deep lines into his chair. "This is not the end," he hissed. "This is only the beginning." Back on the station, the Vayari delegation trembled. Their leader stepped forward, bowing low to Stone. "You saved us. You risked everything. You are not the monster they claim." Dr. Chun's eyes shone with relief. "Do you see, Elias? This is how it begins, one ally at a time." But Stone knew the cost. Hundreds of his own crew were gone. Whole sections of the Terror lay in ruins. His people mourned, and far away, the Union would rally again, larger than before. The news spread like fire. Some worlds saw hope. Humans had protected the weak. Others saw only destruction. The Terror had burned fleets and moons alike. The galaxy fractured in its judgment. Yet one truth was clear. Humanity could no longer hide their name. Was spoken now in every council, every market, every soldier's barracks. And in hidden halls, Admiral Threx's voice rose once more. "The humans are strong, yes, but strength can be broken. I will not rest until the Terror lies in pieces." He began gathering not just fleets, but assassins, spies, saboteurs. He would strike not just at the ship, but at the humans within. On the Terror, Stone stood at the memorial wall. Names of the fallen glowing in silence. His reflection stared back at him, weary but unbroken. "We are here now," he whispered, "and we cannot turn back." The galaxy was no longer asking if humanity was a threat. They were asking when the storm would consume them, and somewhere deep in his heart, Stone knew the answer. The storm had already begun. The battle was over, but silence weighed heavy on the Terror. In the lower decks, families mourned. Rows of names appeared on the memorial walls. Children clutched mothers, soldiers carried the wounded. Engineers walked past burned-out corridors, patching holes where whole sections had been lost. For many, the Terror had always felt invincible, untouchable. Now they had seen it bleed, and the fear that once belonged to the galaxy had crept inside the humans themselves. Captain Elias Stone stood on the bridge, staring at the wreckage still drifting outside. His shoulders were heavy, his voice low. "Send word to the families," he ordered. "Every name will be remembered." Dr. Maya Chun stood beside him, her face pale with exhaustion. She had worked for hours treating survivors, but still she would not leave. "The Vayari have sent thanks," she said quietly. "They call us saviors now." Stone gave a small nod, but his eyes did not brighten. "Saviors to one, monsters to 1,000 others." Commander Holt approached, his uniform torn from battle, his jaw clenched tight. "Captain, this cannot go on. Every time we fight, the Union grows bolder. Threx will gather more fleets. The galaxy will not stop until we are ashes." Stone met his gaze. "Do you suggest surrender?" Holt's eyes hardened. "No, sir, I suggest we strike first. We cannot sit here waiting for their noose to tighten. We take the fight to them. Destroy their shipyards, burn their stations, make them fear to even whisper our name." The crew listened in silence. Some nodded, their anger raw. Others shifted uneasily, for they had seen too much death already. Dr. Chun spoke firmly. "That path will destroy us. Holt, if we turn into conquerors, then everything they fear becomes true, and the galaxy will unite against us faster than even the Terror can fight." The tension split the bridge in two, one half ready for vengeance, the other desperate for another way, and Stone stood caught between them, his mind torn. Yet as the debate raged, a new message arrived. A secure transmission crackled through. The signal was faint, hidden in layers of encryption. "This is the Vayari Council," the voice said, soft but urgent. "We have learned something. You are in grave danger. The Union is not only gathering fleets, they are sending spies. They mean to break the Terror from the inside." Stone's eyes narrowed, the words struck deep. Already he had suspected sabotage, lights flickering where no damage was reported, supplies vanishing from stores, whispers of discontent spreading faster than before. "Do you have proof?" Stone asked sharply. The Vayari voice answered. "One of their agents was captured on our world. He spoke of a plan to strike at your command, to divide your people, to turn them against you." The transmission ended, but its weight remained. Humanity's greatest weapon might not be destroyed by cannons, but by betrayal. In the days that followed, suspicion grew like poison inside the Terror. Crew whispered about saboteurs, about traitors hidden among them. Every accident, every malfunction fed the fire. Then it happened. A section of the engineering core exploded, fire ripping through the chamber. Dozens died, and the power grid flickered across the entire ship. For several minutes, the Terror drifted helplessly. And in that silence, fear spread like wildfire. When systems came back online, Holt stormed into the captain's chamber. "Enough," he barked. "This is sabotage, and you know it. We must lock down every deck, interrogate every crew member. If we have traitors, they must be purged." Stone shook his head. "If we turn on ourselves, Holt, the Union has already won." But Holt's words spread among the soldiers. Many began to distrust their own neighbors. Some demanded harsh measures. Dr. Chun tried to calm them. "Do not let fear rule us. That is what they want." But her voice, was drowned by shouts. Then came the most shocking event. A group of armed crew stormed the bridge, led by a lieutenant loyal to Holt. They aimed rifles at Stone, voices trembling with anger. "We cannot follow a captain who hesitates while we die. Step down, or we will take command." The bridge froze. Officers stared in disbelief. Dr. Chun's eyes widened. Holt himself looked shocked. He had not ordered this, but his words had planted the seed. Stone did not flinch. He stepped forward, his voice steady as steel. "You dare raise weapons against your own people? Against your own families who live inside these walls? If you fire on me, you fire on humanity itself." The mutineers wavered, sweat glistening on their brows. One lowered his weapon, then another, but one desperate soldier screamed and fired. The shot ripped across the deck, only to slam against Holt's chest. The commander had stepped in front. The blast knocked him down, armor scorched. His voice strained but fierce. "You fools, do you think tearing us apart makes us stronger? Do you think fear wins wars?" The mutineers froze, shame flooding their faces. They dropped their rifles one by one. Medics rushed Holt away. Stone stood over the bridge, his eyes blazing. "Listen well," he said, his voice carrying across the ship's comms. "The Union fears us because they cannot defeat us. If we destroy ourselves, then they win without firing a shot. I will not allow it. We will not fall from within." The ship fell silent, and slowly, order returned, later in the medical bay. Holt lay weak but alive, his voice rough. "You were right, Captain. They nearly broke us. Do not let it happen again." Stone nodded. "Rest, Holt. We need you yet." But Dr. Chun knew the danger was not over. "This was only the beginning," she warned. "Threx will send more spies, more poison. He knows the terror cannot be beaten head-on, so he will bleed us from the inside." Stone's jaw tightened. "Then we will show him humanity may bend, but we do not break." Far away, Admiral Threx sat in his chamber, reports of the failed mutiny in his claws, though the attempt had failed. He grinned, his fangs glinting. "Yes, fight among yourselves, tear each other apart. The terror is strong in armor, but soft in flesh." He looked to the stars, hatred burning in his eyes. "I will not stop, human. I will break you, and when I do, the galaxy will cheer, back on the terror." Captain Stone stood once more at the memorial wall. His reflection stared back, scarred but unyielding. He placed his hand against the cold steel. "We survived the fire outside," he whispered. "Now we will survive the fire within." And the galaxy waited, watching, wondering, would humanity stand together or shatter under the weight of their own shadows? The terror drifted in silence, its hull scarred, its people shaken. The mutiny had been crushed, but the wound it left ran deep. Families whispered in corners. Soldiers eyed each other with suspicion. Even in the command deck, tension clung like smoke. Captain Elias Stone knew he was walking on a knife's edge. If trust broke again, the terror would collapse long before the Union's cannons finished the job. Dr. Maya Chun stood with him, her voice quiet. "We cannot survive by strength alone. Elias, they will keep coming. Threx will never stop. We need more than fear. We need allies." Stone's jaw tightened. "The Vayari are not enough." "They are the beginning," Chun replied firmly. "If one world sees us as more than monsters, then others can too, but only if we show them." Before Stone could answer, a new transmission cut through the silence. The signal was bold, loud and laced with venom. "This is Admiral Threx," the voice roared, echoing across every deck. "Your tricks end here, human. You hide behind your fortress, you whisper lies to weaklings. But I will show the galaxy what you are. I challenge you, Captain Stone. Bring your terror to the rim, face me in battle, or prove yourself a coward." The crew stiffened soldiers. Clenched fists, engineers muttered curses. Even the children whispered the name Threx, for he had become a shadow over them all. Commander Holt, still pale from his wounds, but back at his post, growled, "It's a trap, Captain. He knows we'll come. He wants to draw us out." Stone's eyes narrowed. "And if we do not answer?" Holt's jaw set. Then he wins without firing a shot. The galaxy will call us cowards. Chun shook her head. It is madness, Elias. Threx wants a spectacle, not a battle, if we play his game. He will twist it against us. We must outthink him, not outgun him. The debate split the ship again. One half cried for vengeance, the other for caution. But Stone knew the truth. Sometimes a captain had no choice. He opened the comms to every deck, his voice steady as iron. Threx calls us out. He thinks we are afraid. He thinks we are only shadows. We will answer. We will face him. But on our terms. Cheers erupted through some decks. Fear lingered in others. But the course was set. The Terror would sail to the rim. Days later, the stars shifted as the monster ship crossed into unclaimed space. The rim was wild, a graveyard of old wars, broken stations and shattered moons drifting like ghosts. It was here Threx waited. His fleet was vast. Hundreds of ships formed a wall of steel, banners of a dozen species flying beside the Union's crest. Threx had succeeded in his goal. He had united them, if only in hatred of humanity. From the bridge of his flagship, Threx bared his fangs in triumph. At last, monster. At last you face me in the open. Today the galaxy will see you fall. Inside the Terror, Stone watched the enemy formation appear on the tactical map. His face was stone, but his thoughts burned. Never before had so many ships faced them at once. Even the Terror might not endure. Chun whispered. Elias, this is not just a battle. This is history. What you choose now will shape humanity's name forever. He nodded slowly. Then let us write it well. The battle began. Threx struck first, his fleet swarming like a tide. Torpedoes and beams filled the void. The Terror's shields flared under the assault. Entire towers shuddering as impacts tore into its armor. Return fire. Stone ordered. The monster ship's cannons roared, each blast cutting swaths through the enemy. Dozens of ships exploded, but for every one destroyed, 3 more closed in. The Terror moved like a wounded giant, swatting enemies aside, but bleeding from every strike. Decks split open. Atmosphere vented into space. Medics rushed through smoke-filled halls. Families huddled as the walls shook. Chun gripped the console. Elias, we cannot win by fire alone. They will overwhelm us. Stone's eyes hardened. Then we use something more. He gave the order. Deploy the shroud. From the Terror's core, a new system activated. Engines pulsed, and a wave of energy spread out like ripples in water. Suddenly the battlefield warped. Sensors twisted. Enemy targeting systems scrambled. Ships fired blindly, striking allies instead of foes. Chaos erupted in Threx's fleet. Commanders shouted. Formations broke. Threx's eyes widened in fury. Tricks. Cowards' tricks. He slammed his claws on the console. Push forward. Tear them apart. But the shroud gave the Terror room to breathe. Its cannons picked off disoriented ships, turning confusion into carnage. Yet even with the advantage, the enemy pressed hard. The Terror groaned, its power reserves draining. Its people stretched thin. Then something unexpected happened from the far side of the battlefield. Small ships appeared, not Union, not Threx's allies. The Vayari had come. Their tiny fleet was nothing compared to the giants around them. But they dove into the fray, targeting Union supply ships, disrupting formations, shouting one message across the comms. We stand with humanity. The cry spread faster than fire. For the first time, the Terror was not alone. Stone seized the moment. His voice thundered across the ship. All batteries, focus fire on their flagship. The Terror's cannons turned, unleashing a storm of fire. Beams ripped across the void, slamming into Threx's command ship. Shields flared, armor buckled. Inside his bridge, Threx snarled, refusing to yield. Hold, do not falter. I will not die to a human. But the Terror's fury was relentless. The final volley pierced his flagship's core. Light burst through the hull, and Admiral Threx's roar was swallowed by fire. His flagship exploded, a sun blooming in the void. Shockwaves rippled through his fleet. The Union armada faltered, Some fled in panic, others fought on blindly. But without Threx's command, their unity cracked. The Terror, though battered and bleeding, stood unbroken, and beside it, the Veari ships circled, their voices echoing, "Humanity is not alone." On the bridge, Stone stood tall despite the wreckage. His people watched him, exhausted but alive. And for the first time since they had revealed themselves to the galaxy, hope flickered. Dr. Chun's eyes shone with tears. "Elias, do you see? This is the proof. They came for us. They chose us." Stone nodded slowly, but his gaze was distant. For though Threx was dead, he knew the war was not. The galaxy would not forget the Terror, nor forgive the fire it had unleashed, but something had changed. Humanity was no longer just a monster in the dark. They were a people who fought, who bled, and who could inspire others to stand with them. The Terror's shadow still loomed, but within it burned a new light, and the galaxy, once united in fear, now stood on the edge of something greater: war or alliance. The choice was no longer theirs alone. The Rim battlefield lay in ruins. Wreckage drifted across the void-burned hulks of Union ships, shattered engines, broken wings spinning silently. The Terror loomed at the center, scarred but standing. Its hull glowed with wounds, but its cannons still pointed outward, ready to fire again if needed. For hours after the battle, the humans worked without rest. Medics carried the wounded, engineers patched holes. Families gathered in silence. Even the children understood what had happened. They had not only survived, they had changed the galaxy. But survival came at a cost. Admiral Threx was dead, yet his voice echoed louder in death than in life. Across Union space, his name became a banner. Leaders who once hesitated now roared for vengeance. His followers swore blood, promising to finish what he had begun. And for every world that cursed humanity, there was now one that questioned. Some whispered of the Veari who had stood beside the Terror. Others asked why the humans had not slaughtered the weak outpost, why they had spoken at all. The galaxy's certainty cracked, and into that crack spilled both hope and hatred. On the Terror's bridge, Captain Elias Stone stood at the viewing glass. His face was worn, his eyes shadowed by days without rest. Dr. Maya Chun joined him, her expression softer but equally heavy. "We have won a battle," Stone said quietly. "But not the war," Chun nodded. "Perhaps battles alone cannot win this, Elias. Perhaps what we do after matters more than what we did today." Before they could speak further, a transmission came. This one was not from spies, not from threats, but from the Veari, their leaders. Voice was clear, stronger than before. "Humanity, you are not alone. You stood for us when none would. You fought for us when all others turned away. We will stand with you, openly." Gasps filled the bridge. Soldiers turned to one another, murmuring. For the first time, an ally had declared, not in whispers, but in light. Chum smiled faintly. "Do you see, Elias? It begins." Stone did not smile. His voice was steady. "It is only the first step, and every step will be blood." Far away, in Union space, council halls thundered with rage. Leaders of dozens of worlds pounded their fists. The Terror must be destroyed. Humanity must be erased. They poured resources into new fleets. Scientists forged new weapons. Hatred binding them together, stronger than fear ever had. But cracks appeared even there. Some leaders questioned the cost. If the humans could slay Threx, what chance do we have? Perhaps it is better to speak than to burn. Others were silenced, their voices drowned in shouts of war. But the seed of doubt was planted. On the Terror, life went on. Families repaired their homes, soldiers trained harder. The memorial wall grew longer. Every name was etched, every sacrifice remembered. The ship was no longer just a fortress, it was a nation, carrying the heart of humanity through the stars. Stone gathered his officers. Holt stood straight, though still scarred. Chun leaned forward, eyes bright with determination. Harris and the others listened in silence. The captain spoke, his words heavy. "We are no longer shadows. The galaxy sees us now. Some fear us. Some hate us, some may stand with us. But make no mistake, we are at the center. And we cannot run, we cannot hide, we must show them who we are, Holt growled. And if they only see monsters? Stone's gaze hardened. Then we will endure until they learn otherwise. The council nodded. The path ahead was dangerous, but it was theirs. That night, Stone walked the halls alone. He passed the families, the soldiers, the children who laughed even among scars. He thought of Earth, the home long left behind, the reason the terror had been built. Humanity had been born in fragility, but now they walked in steel. Chun found him there, her voice soft. Elias, do you ever regret it? Building this ship, choosing this path? He did not answer immediately. His hand brushed the cold walls. Every day, he admitted at last. But regret does not change necessity. Humanity must survive, and survival is never gentle. Chun studied him, then nodded. Then let us make survival mean something, not just fear, not just war, something greater. Her words lingered in him long after she left. The next morning, the Terror set course away from the rim, its wounds still raw, but its engines burning bright. Around it the Vayari fleet followed, small beside the giant but shining with loyalty. Together they moved toward unknown stars. The galaxy watched, some with dread, some with hope, all with certainty humanity had arrived, and they would shape the ages to come. In the hidden corners of Union space, whispers spread. Secret groups began to ask questions. If the humans could fight the Union and live, what else could they do? What if they are not monsters? What if they are the answer? And so quietly, humanity's legend grew, not just as destroyers, but as survivors, as protectors, as something new. Admiral Threx's death did not end the war, it began it. But the war was no longer only about fear, it was about identity. Humanity was forcing the galaxy to look in the mirror, to ask what strength truly meant. On the bridge of the Terror, Stone gave his final words to his crew after the rim battle. His voice carried to every deck, every heart. We are humanity, he said. We are not shadows, we are not myths, we are not monsters, we are people. We bleed, we fight, we endure. And now the galaxy knows this. If they want peace, we will offer it. If they want war, we will answer. But never again will we be silent. The crew erupted in cheers. Some wept, some shouted. All stood united, for the first time. The Terror did not feel like a prison. It felt like destiny. And so, with stars stretching endlessly before them, humanity's monster ship sailed on. Its shadow vast, its light growing. The galaxy had unleashed its floating terror, and found not just fear, but fire. A fire that would burn for centuries. A fire called humanity.